Welcome everyone to the Coach's Corner. John Stanko of ICGales.com, being joined by Joe Pienta, Director of Cross Country and Track and Field for the Gaels. Coach, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well. We just tested pre-travel for NCAAs, so fingers crossed. I think we got most people in and through, and we're negative. I mean, that's 90% of the battle at this point. It's just getting there. So fingers crossed on travel to NCAAs and jumping on a flight and the risk there. Whether or not we should be going or not, I'm just excited for the kids to have the opportunity. Same with our kids racing MAACs last weekend. It's just nice for them to have an opportunity after a year without racing, and they're used to racing all year long.
Yeah, how grateful do you think the student athletes are to even be at that first meet, the cross country for the Spider Patriot Classic? How grateful were they for that first meet, and then to be able to compete in a championship and win it, and now get the NCAAs? You kind of see that in their training and in their excitement.
Yeah, I think they were champing at the bit for a variety of reasons, just the opportunity. They knew how good they could be. And I really do think they did an awesome job of staying focused when I think a lot of teams and a lot of sports can lose focus. You're not racing. You don't know what's certain. And over the winter break, we weren't meeting all that much. I probably saw them maybe 4 times, I think, this whole, since last October. I was busy myself, and wasn't at practice a whole lot when we started February 1. But I think it's a credit to them, all our student athletes on the team and all our runners, that they were just able to grind and get the job done, and didn't really question it.
So this is a question I had thinking. You guys, the cross country season's in relatively the spring, quote unquote, unique time for cross country. How do you train for that through the winter, especially in the Northeast? It's incredibly hard, I can imagine, to get outside and train in those conditions like you would for a cross country race.
Well, the one thing is our kids aren't soft, and they're used to training in the winter. We're outside for the indoor track season for the most part. The one tricky part this year is, in the last 6 years, I don't think we've really gotten much snow. And if we did, it would melt. We started February 1. We got dumped on. We got that huge blizzard, about 1.5 feet of snow. And then it kept snowing. Hey, anytime there was a chance for a melt, the temperatures will cool off. So that posed 2 problems. Where are we going to race? Where can we run a cross country course that's, we're under 2 feet of snow? And then where can we train? And we were on the roads quite a bit. I would have liked to have been on grass a little bit more and some of the soft surfaces, but we just couldn't. We were running loops around Payne Avenue. The neighborhood there, most of them, I appreciate when they slow down. The ones that don't slow down, I don't appreciate that. We might let them hear about it. The kids were really good with just being flexible. We did a lot of different stuff that we normally wouldn't do pre-NCAA cross country. It's just because we had to. It was nice. Yesterday or Tuesday, we were able to get to Van Cortlandt Park for the first time and just train on the cinders there and get on some grass. So that was nice. So it was weird in that sense, but our kids are good. The cold doesn't faze them. The snow doesn't really faze them. We just find a place to run and we run.
So with all the variables this season, all the different contingencies that you and your team have had to go through, has there been any part of the season that's felt normal, that's felt like it's been part of the normal routine, or has it just been a constant kind of turning over the wheel and adjusting to get to the point you are now?
Yeah, I think the normalcy is when you get to the race and you get to workouts, kids have the same stress, same anxiety, same excitement. So that's the thing you like to deal with as a coach, that, hey, you got somebody, hey, somebody's really nervous and anxious before a race. They're projectile vomiting in their hotel room before the race, and you're trying to calm them down. And they're like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Stuff like that's par for the course. And no matter what was going on, we're going to deal with stuff like that and kids stressing out. But I think we just got used to things not being normal and just being flexible. And I think the kids did a great job with that. And I think my staff did a great job. We're just, figuring things out on the fly. The night before, we're trying to figure out where we're working out, who's taking who. We're not able to take vans as much, and we have to be really careful with, living cohorts and who lives with who, and not mixing and matching with contact tracing and stuff like that. All the while, hey, let's just be super careful and try not to get COVID, because even if you're asymptomatic, you get a positive test, you're out, and your roommates are out. So that's been the really tricky part. And again, fingers crossed, we're not through it yet until Monday.
No, well, again, all the anxiety and stress that your student athletes have. Well, they had MAAC championships in their last race, and the men's team 30th straight. It's hard to even figure what that's like. What were you doing 30 years ago? Like, what were you doing when this streak started?
So 30 years ago, I was about 9 years old. I was probably a Weebelo scout. I was probably learning how to sheep shank for my pioneering merit badge.
Tying those knots.
I hadn't yet found a lot of rock and roll, heavy metal and punk rock yet. I was probably digging through my dad's old Creedence tapes at the time. But back then, I was tape recording off of a boombox. I'd get, you get a dubbed cassette, you'd hit record and you'd record off the radio. Compact discs were just coming around. I think my sisters were, they were probably daisies and brownies in the Girl Scouts. So, and around this time of year, it's Girl Scout cookie season. So I would recommend get yourself a tag along.
That's the best flavor. You have the best cookie. That is the best cookie. There's only one.
I've grown to love coconut and the Samoa. It wasn't always my favorite. But I got a variety pack. Sean Burke, one of our administrators, was selling them for his kid. I actually still owe him. He's probably going to harass me to get him his money. But yeah, 30 years is a long time, and it's not something any of us take for granted. At some point, streaks end. And our women have won in the last 16. It's longer than I've been coaching. And I think the MAAC's getting stronger, and there's going to be some teams and some individuals giving us a run for their money. But it's a credit to the tradition going way back with all our alum, all the legends that you hear stories about. It's a pretty cool thing. And, from inheriting the program from Ricardo Santos, who inherited it from Mick Byrne. It's truly a great program. And that's the expectation, that when you get here, the expectation is set. Hey, we're going to try to win MAACs again and keep that streak going. Our making NCAAs is 19 years in a row. And that's a tough one, especially this year, where we had no idea what the qualifying criteria were. There's a committee. I'm looking forward to things going back to normal next year with you get to just race a regional and everybody gets to race, and that's how you qualify. So it's a credit to the program. It's a credit to the school for supporting a sport like cross country and track and field in a way that I think not a lot of mid-major schools are doing. And I think that's a cool thing.
Well, we touched on the men winning their 30th in a row. Shout out to Jack O'Leary for winning most outstanding performer. But we got to touch on the women's side. As you mentioned, 5th straight, 15 last 16 years. Gemma Natal takes out the MOP, wins first place, and qualifies for NCAAs. Her first time she's going to be racing a national championship. What can you say about her race, and what do you expect from her in Oklahoma?
Well, Gemma has been, she had been playing, I think, second fiddle on the team for a little while. And her record at the MAAC Championships, I think her freshman year, she was 10th. Then she was 4th. Then she was 2nd. And, finally gets a win. We just have such a great team that there's a lot of interchangeable pieces. And Gemma was really motivated. She was 11th in the Northeast region last time we had regionals, 2019, and just missed making NCAAs. So she's been on a mission since then to make it. She nearly made it on the indoor season. She just missed out in the mile, running the 4:39 mile before COVID broke. And she's somebody who I can probably honestly say I'm never going to coach anybody like her again. She's got her quirks. Tuesday, she wasn't wearing a watch for a fartlek workout, which is solely time-based. Luckily, Caitlin Ortman bailed her out there. I was glad to have her this season. That's for sure. She's in really good shape. I expect her to be really competitive at the NCAA championship. She runs really well on the hills. Oklahoma State's going to be a tough course. And, I hope she surprises even herself, but she's capable of doing something great on Monday.
What do you know about the Oklahoma State course? I don't know. I'm not sure if you've been there before as a competitor or as a coach, if you've seen it before. What are you hearing as you guys are going to be taking the flight over there?
Well, it's going to be the conditions. It's going to be a little warmer than we're used to. I don't think Oklahoma State as a school, I don't think they've divested in fossil fuels because they pumped, $5-6 million into that course. Where they're getting that money, just to plant grass. But I think it's probably one of the best courses in the country in terms of the care that's been looked after it. They've got groundskeepers, they've got, golf people planting, Bermuda bluegrass, whatever it is. So it's going to be, I think the conditions are going to be good for some fast races. I do think it's a tough course that's our kids can't underrate. But that's as much as I know. I haven't been there. I've never been to Oklahoma. My old boss, when I worked at Binghamton, was from Oklahoma. She always told me there's nothing in Oklahoma. But we recruit against a couple good schools in Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Dave Smith is a great coach there. In Tulsa, they're kind of like the Iona of Oklahoma, small school with a good cross country program. So I'm eager to see what's out there. I'll probably be just as eager to head back to civilization. No offense.
I'm none taken for the state of Oklahoma. I'll speak on their behalf.
So that's why I got my cowboy hat on. Pretend to be a cowpoke or whatever they're called.
That's true. You have to wear that come game day when you get over there.
Yeah.
Or come race day. Yeah. So my last question for you is, what are your expectations for the NCAA championship? It's been such a bonkers season. You had schools running in the fall and running now. You had indoor championships literally happening just days before cross country championships. So you don't know who's running for which sport for some certain schools. What's in your mind now preparing for this championship, especially on the men's side, where your team can't compete for a national title? You guys ranked 13th in the country as of today.
I think our team needs to be as flexible as they've ever been and keep their expectations wide open. I think they're capable of something special. I think a lot of teams, really didn't, preparation for this meet is probably the same as any other year, even though it's at a different time. But I also just think with all the curveballs being thrown at kids this past year, that I think if you have the mental focus and the tenacity of, a wild pack of warrior Skaven, maybe a chaotic neutral rat warrior, I think if you have that mentality going into a race and you expect to hurt and you expect to be just tenacious out there, you're going to run really well, and you have to. You can't relent, and that's why I think a rat-like warrior like the Skaven is something that we aspire to be.
Well, Coach, I hope you and your team all roll nat 20s. I hope they all get the proper traits they need for a successful NCAA championship. I want to thank you for joining me this afternoon, and best of luck at the national championships.
Well, thanks, John, and I also want to thank my staff, Eric Jolivet. In keeping with the theme, he's like the bard of the staff. He's a little bit of a jack of all trades. And he is a musician, plays the trumpet, very calming, vocally, he'll sing to us to calm us down. So I think he does a really great job with that. Christine Eisenberg was new to the staff, and she's some sort of multi-class. I can't quite peg her. Probably a little bit of cleric, a little bit of rogue, and certainly a little bit of warrior. But we also had added Cullen Burdett, who's a great volunteer coach, had some experience at Wisconsin with Mick Byrne, and ran at BU, Boston University. He's been a real help, especially with having a new kid, having a newborn, having not being around as much, relying on those guys and gals has been a huge huge help. So thanks to them.
And we do have to congratulate you on the fatherhood. Absolutely awesome. Kept it a secret from everybody at Iona, but I'm sure you got showered with praise and happiness when they saw it because everyone was excited for you.
Yeah, I think we kept it on the DL. I think for a variety of reasons, but hey, I didn't have to do much of the heavy lifting. I don't have a womb, but since then it's been, sleep's been, a few hours here and there. I wouldn't come too close to me. I'm probably covered in my own son's urine. He did, have a little accident this morning, but sometimes it's tough to get a shower and get to work and everything. So that's just par for the course of fatherhood. That's how I view it. You just got to get in and get dirty.
I'm sure you'll be able to multitask with the best of them, Coach. Again, thank you for your time and good luck with everything going forward, especially at NCAAs.
Thanks, John. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.